Monkey Man is out. It's a revenge movie based in India. It's overtly political. Overall, it's pretty good. I don't know if most people will like it. I think the critics will love it for sure. The action was pretty good for the most part, but there was some stuff I thought was dumb. They made some choices that I thought were strange. One of which was the way that it was shot. It felt like 90% of the film was close-ups and shaky cam. I'm assuming the close-ups was to make it feel like stressful and suffocating and whatever, and it was a deliberate choice. But it did make it kind of strange to watch after a while. It's almost like when everything is supposed to be intense, it just stops being intense. And you almost grow like bored during the middle part of the movie because it drags a bit and they do like a hallucination thing. And the other thing I thought was really strange and kind of frustrating was that they were speaking in English, mostly. But they were speaking in a broken Indian American accent. Like if you were to stereotype someone from India who learned English.
There were numerous causes, aside from the obvious schism between abolitionists and anti-abolitionists.
And they were mumbling a lot, and there's a lot of loud music. So a lot of it was like hard to hear and hard to understand on top of that. And I didn't understand that choice either. It almost felt like I was in a Christopher Nolan movie. And the politics, I'm just going to go ahead and say I had to look up because I'm not going to pretend like I understand Indian politics. From what I could gather, it's a pretty direct commentary on the Indian government, which is supposedly very right-wing and discriminatory against Muslims and treats them poorly. But it has more broad themes that are more accessible to an American audience. Poor versus rich, rich exploiting the poor, treating them all as replaceable. There's a lot of government corruption and police brutality. They mention trans people being mistreated. This is all the kind of stuff that I think the critics will praise the movie for, unless maybe they're all more experts in Indian politics than I am. The gist of the plot you can get from the trailer. He wears a monkey mask and gets paid to get beat up every night by more popular fighters. A lot of them wear masks also that are animal themed. And he's just kind of getting by. Eventually he gets pissed off and comes up with an idea to get revenge. And the rest of the movie is his pursuit of this revenge. Pretty straightforward on a personal level. On a broader themes level, you have the stuff that I mentioned about the dangers of religious cults. Obviously there's commentary on discrimination, classism, all that good stuff. So I'm going to get to the spoiler stuff now. A lot of the character stuff I liked, the broad messages of the movie. It seems like they're pertinent in India from what I've read online, like to the point where this movie is going to be blocked from theaters over there. But I feel like a lot of Americans are going to extrapolate that to here. And I guess in the broad sense, you can always extrapolate stuff like that. But with how extreme it was, it doesn't really feel appropriate to me. But I think people are going to do it anyway, because that's just what people do when they agree with the message of a movie. So there's really two big action scenes. And they're really weird because the first one starts off, obviously he's been fighting as Monkey Man. So this first fight, he's just kind of a brawler. It's a fight where both of the people in it are trying to fight for their life, and it's very ugly and messy. So in that regard, I like the style a lot. But then as this fight progresses, he just kind of becomes superhuman. So two characters are fighting. More people will get brought into where they are when they're isolated. So he has to run. And at this point, he's been stabbed and bitten and hit. And he fights his way down the stairs, no problem. He's running from all these people. He's bleeding all over the place. Eventually, he escapes, drives this little car. You get a big car chase. The car comes to a stop, and he gets T-boned in this tiny, like, golf cart-sized car. So obviously, it messes him up. He's hurt. They come up to him with, like, a metal rod and knock him out. And when he wakes up, he's, like, barely conscious and handcuffed, and he's been bleeding a shitload. And then he just kills these four guys, like, no problem, jumps out of the back of the van that he's in onto the hood of a truck, and then eventually gets away. And it's like, what the hell just happened? That it starts off almost as like a Mission Impossible Fallout bathroom fight, and then devolves into like John Wick 4 mode. All in like a 10-minute span. It was so strange. And the way this fight ends, eventually, is he's standing on a rooftop. The bad guys have a helicopter. He gets shot by a sniper, falls into this dirty-ass water, and you see him, he's just like sunk there. We get a little flashback, and then suddenly he's woken up in a temple. And he's been taken care of. He's patched up. He's still hurt, to be fair, but how did he escape from the villains when they're surrounding his dead body or floating body? Don't know. How did he survive all that damage and blood loss? Don't know. Why did these people save him? Don't know. So the people that saved him were this small kind of failing temple, and for whatever reason, they declare him like their savior. So he stays at this temple and recovers. He lifts weights for like a month. He's still rail thin. And he trains by hitting a punching bag by himself to the rhythm of a drummer. And then all of a sudden, these people are following him. He goes back as Monkey Man. The guys that he was fighting and losing to, he just destroys them suddenly. Self-trained. gives this little temple a bunch of money. They've decided he's their savior or whatever. So then he goes back for revenge on the big cult political movement. A few of them go with him and they just fuck him up. You get a lot of the stereotypical action movie stuff. Guys run up to him with guns. He hits them once they go down. They hit him a bunch. He just kind of walks it off. He has like 6 people with him who just cut right through all of the people that are these professional bodyguards for this high up cult leader guy. Luckily, only certain characters have guns, so he never gets shot. All that stuff. My least favorite part of it was probably the final bigger fight. It's the guy that he wanted revenge on. And the guy that he wanted revenge on sneaks up on him, hits him from behind, and is like, get up, and cussing at him. They start to fight, and because he's like Indian John Wick badass now, he's beating the shit out of him. The bad guy gets kind of a lucky move on him and is able to knock him down. And instead of attacking, he tells him to get up again. So then obviously the guy just kicks the shit out of him and beats him to death. And it's like, well, okay, you guys were going to fight to the death and you let him get up for a second time. That was really stupid. And then I thought the ending was kind of pretentious because they tell you the story in the first 30 seconds. It's based on this mythology that I'm not familiar with, but they explain it. So you understand the lesson at least and what's going to happen. But because it has this pretty abrupt ending, you have all these plot threads with people that just go incomplete. So he has like a little friend guy who's also being treated like shit. You see that he's okay. He just kind of disappears. There's a girl that I wouldn't say there's like a romantic thing between them, but they have a connection because they're both treated like shit by these people and they talk a little bit. Super abrupt. He has a dog for part of the movie, but the dog literally serves one plot purpose. So once the dog does it, you just never see him again. So yeah, overall it was okay. I liked a lot of the action. You could tell it was very clearly John Wick inspired, but not nearly John Wick level. This is a weird one for me because the action was good with some pretty stupid stuff, and the main plot was good with some stuff that I thought was just weird and overtly political. So like, nothing was really bad about it, but I also didn't get super into it because it's overtly political, and then you have some weird character shit going on, and then the action was a cool style, but then you have some really dumb stuff going on. Like I said, I think the critics will love it. Audiences, I think, will be pretty split, because I think for the general audience, it's going to be a tough sell for an Indian movie that's overtly political in nature with a couple action scenes, but overall kind of slow pacing. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought. I'm really curious because I feel like this is going to be a movie with a pretty wide range of feelings about it. I try to respond to all the comments, like and subscribe and all that. Thanks. See ya.